Hello and welcome to the Lyman Wolf podcast. I am your host, Raceland, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Nate. What's going on, bud?
Not much, just vibing, not having to work today.
Oh, lucky you. I get the half days on Fridays, but I don't get the full days off like you.
Some days, some
days.
Fridays for me.
But yeah, I'd love to just sit at home and do nothing, but maybe we could just sit at home and contemplate what type of video games should get sequels.
Which is what I did today.
Oh, there we go. And that is the topic of the podcast today. And that is video games that deserve sequels. Now, Nate, this was your pick for the subject matter. What made you want to pick this?
Just been playing a couple of games that recently, and really wished that they would have sequels or more content to them.
Makes sense. Pretty self-explanatory, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm on a binge of nostalgia. So
I live and thrive in nostalgia, Nate.
Yes, I do. You talk quite a bit about past, yes.
So, I guess we'll just jump into our list. Before we do, though, I have two honorable mentions. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So, the reason why these two are honorable mentions instead of being on my list is that I haven't really played that many of these games, so I'm not the target audience for these games, but I do think that fans of these franchises would love to get a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Marvel vs. Capcom. Marvel vs. Capcom has been very popular throughout its life, and the last one we got was Infinite. That one wasn't received well, but I enjoyed the story mode. That's what I play games for, is mostly story modes, which it's a fighting game. It's not really meant for a story mode, but they gave us one, and I liked it. So I would love to see them do a new game with like a new story mode, and that would maybe bring the fighting game fans more content to play more Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah. I always liked playing as Wolverine. And if I remember correctly, they got rid of Wolverine in Infinite. So
that's another reason why it was not received well, because they took out all of the X-Men, because they were trying to make it more like the MCU.
Yeah, so that's I can definitely see why it didn't get quite as big as a
they got rid
enjoyment.
They got rid of my main man Venom. How could they do that to me?
Venom? I thought Venom was in Infinite.
No. Is he? Maybe.
Yes.
Oh, he is. Okay.
He's a part of one of my main roster.
Okay, you're right. I'm thinking of 3. They got rid of Venom in 3.
Yes.
That's what I got mixed up. Anyways, but yeah, I'd love for them to make another game, make a comeback, new gen. They're doing Street Fighters, they're doing Tekken, they're making all these new fighting games. Bring back Marvel vs. Capcom.
No, okay. And your other one?
My other honorable mention, I've only played one of these. This will be the third game, and that is Left 4 Dead 3. Left 4 Dead 2, I know throughout the community, was massive. And I
think that's the only one I played.
That's the only one I've played as well. And the franchise was extremely popular, and after Left 4 Dead 2, it just kind of died. So I'd love for them to bring it back, because I know fans of the franchise would want to play more games. And that's why it's an honorable mention.
Yeah, I know it was a very popular franchise when it was around. And quite a few people I know have mentioned wanting a third one, so.
I heard that the creators of Left 4 Dead is also the guy who made Dead Space and stuff like that. And they're notorious for just, after the second game, just being done. Is that true?
I honestly don't know. I know we got a Dead Space 3, so...
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different franchise.
Yeah.
I just know that somebody told me that the creators of Left 4 Dead is notorious for canceling after the second game.
Okay.
I don't know how true that is. Don't take my word as gospel.
Yeah.
So that is my two honorable mentions. Nate, since this is your topic, you get to start off us with your first pick.
Okay, so my first pick came out in 2003, and has since not had any hint that there would be a sequel, which saddens me.
I hate when they do that.
So it's Gladius.
Gladius.
It came out or it came out on PlayStation 2 and Xbox and GameCube.
Wow, why have I not heard of this? Those are I owned GameCube and PS2, and I loved them, so I'm surprised I never heard of this game.
This you might have enjoyed this game. It was a tactical role-playing game. So you would build up your team and then move them around the map as you needed to in order to take out your opponents.
Oh, is that like a Fire Emblem style combat?
Sort of, kind of like yeah, it's kind of like XCOM.
That's probably why I didn't hear of it as a kid, because I wasn't a fan of that type of games when I was a kid.
So I was, when I first saw this, I immediately fell in love with it just because of the style, because it's gladiators, and like I love the idea of gladiators in media.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of gladiator movies. There's a movie called Gladiator.
Yeah, it was a great movie. So in this game, you basically play as one of two people. There was their way of like picking a male or female character.
Okay.
The male is your typical Roman-looking character, and the female was a northern barbarian style, kind of Viking-esque character. And each character would then build a school of gladiators around them as they made their way across the land to the gladiator championship to win whatever. And it was such a fun game because first off, you could, as you would go through, you would be able to recruit and like buy gladiators, train them up to your specifications, however you wanted them to be. So if you wanted a more like ultra fast team, just build them up that way. If you wanted a more balanced team, you'd have a frontliner, a bunch of surrounding tactics. It was however you wanted it to be. And
I can definitely see why you appealed to it.
Yeah. And it was a role-playing game, so like it had a good story as well. So yeah, I would love to see that come back. The publisher was LucasArts even.
Oh, Star Wars.
Yeah, so highly recommend. I think it did come out on PC a while back, but I'm not positive.
It being Lucas. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say.
I'm just saying, if it did, awesome. Play it.
I was gonna say, it being LucasArts, I can see why it's not coming back.
Yeah,
LucasArts kind of died.
Yes. Which actually is, I think, the reason why it didn't. Well, one of the reasons why, because Xbox Magazine had a quote, and it was, they rated the game one of the best Xbox games most people never played.
Oh, that saddens you, doesn't it?
Yes. Because it has, on the Metacritic, it had an 82 out of 100 for the GameCube, 78 out of 100 for PlayStation 2, and a 79 out of 100 for Xbox.
Pretty good scores for a game.
And most scores from magazines, like reviews and stuff, were 7 or higher out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not hold your breath, but yeah, that sounds like a game that I could see you liking and wanting a sequel to.
Yes, almost anybody I do know who did get to play it back in the day loved it, and we all cry when we think of it because
the tears are shedding.
We'll never have a sequel, but that is my first pick for games that should have a sequel.
Okay, good pick. Good pick. Sounds like a very Nate game.
Yes.
All right, I guess I'll move on to mine. And my number 5 is the game. It came out on originally it came out on the Wii U, and then they brought a enhanced version to the Switch, and that is Pokken Tournament. A Pokken Tournament 2.
Okay, so I'm not massive on Pokemon games and whatnot. Is that the one where you got to play as a Pokemon and it was like a fighting game?
Yes, it was a fighting Pokemon game.
Okay.
Pokken Tournament, it didn't do as well as Nintendo was hoping, and that's why I don't think it's ever going to get a sequel. But I'd like to see a sequel with kind of a better battle mechanic and more of an involved story. Like, so the battle mechanic of the game was it started out as 3D fighting game, and then if you would do a certain move or hit them a certain way, it would snap into a 2D fighting game. So it would go back and forth, which was a cool concept, but I don't think it was executed very well. And I would really like to see them make basically a better version of that. I'd like to see a more thought out, better version. I don't know how else to explain it.
All I'm imagining is a Pokemon version of the like recent wrestling games where you create a wrestler and then go through their entire career as a wrestler. But in this, you're just going as a Pokemon trainer and building their career as a Pokemon trainer.
And I'm about to get into the story. I don't want that. Because the original story, for those who hadn't played it, this is not a big spoiler. The story is not the main focus of this game. The story is a little short, tiny thing where it's just Shadow Mewtwo is trying to, like, just take over, basically. Just trying to be evil. And you try to stop him. And that's the whole story. But they don't even explain it well because the whole story is just you're leveling your character up throughout the ranks. Like, you want to be the best ranked Pokemon fighter. And that's it. And it just has a little bit of cutscenes that are really boring because they're just static cutscenes that you just read. I hate when they do that. Like, you have, like, this cutscene where it's like you see Shadow Mewtwo coming down and it's like, fight me, basically. And I'm like, oh, sick. We're about to see a really badass cutscene. And it's just this read. I'm like, no, come on, man. You could have made it cool. But obviously they wanted to focus on the game being a fighting game instead of it being a story-based game.
Yeah.
But at least, like I mentioned earlier, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That had a story mode and that had great cutscenes. That's one of the reasons why I like the game, is because it had good cutscenes. They could have done that with Pokemon. Or Pokken Tournament, I mean.
Okay.
Plus, like, the story you could just have the story, just instead of it just being leveling up through the ranks, you could have it where maybe you could make more connections with certain Pokemon, and your trainer needs to, like, not just go out and catch Pokemon, that's just normal Pokemon, but like maybe have the cutscenes be more like you interacting with the Pokemon. Maybe that Pokemon gets corrupted, and that's why you have to fight them, or something like that. And that would be another reason why to bring like fighting game fans into this back into the Pokemon fighting games, because there's now over 1,000 Pokemon. You could have an entirely new roster with tons of Pokemon as fighters. Yeah, there's so many opportunities to make a good fighting game from Pokemon. They just didn't do a good job with it back in the day.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised there's not like never mind. That would have been really stupid.
There's no stupid opinions around here, Nate.
Well, it wasn't an opinion. It was a lack of observation on my part. I was about to say, I'm kind of surprised there's not a fighting tournament already, like, in the universe of Pokemon with all the fighting Pokemon. But then I was like, oh, wait, that's all of Pokemon.
That's the Pokemon League.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see this game brought, like I said, bring life into an old game that everybody kind of forgot about. Like, it came out on the Wii U, but the problem is nobody had the Wii U except for me, who's a big, huge fan of the Wii U. And then they were like, well, we'll bring it to the Switch. But nobody wanted to buy it because nobody cared about the game. They were like, that's a Wii U game. We don't want to play that. And so it just kind of just died on the Switch.
They need to basically bring in the underground Pokemon fighting from Detective Pikachu movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just
the
Pokemon brawling each other.
That would be hilarious. One character I think you'd really enjoy from the game is you can play as Pikachu, but as like Nacho Libre Pikachu. He has a freaking he has a Mexican wrestler outfit. It's hilarious. And he has a completely different moveset than the normal Pikachu.
Hilarious.
He has one of his the special move, like his ultimate move, is Pikachu throws. You remember in Smash Bros. When Incineroar uses a special and he kind of throws him into a ring? Pikachu does that, but he throws his opponent down in the ring, and then he's like, Pikachu! And then does a pile driver with an electrical shock onto his enemy. It's hilarious.
Man. That does sound cool, though.
Yeah. There's so many opportunities. Like I said, there's over 1,000 Pokemon now. We can have a huge roster. But yeah, I would love to see Pokken Tournament come back. Maybe that'd bring more fans of Pokemon and fighting games back into the franchise. So that's my number 5.
Okay. So I guess that brings me to number 4.
Yep.
So my number 4 is... It came out in 2005, again, on PlayStation 2 and Xbox.
Okay.
And it is a single-player, multiplayer, first-person shooter game that also had, like, some bits where you would switch to third person. And it was called Darkwatch, Curse of the West.
Darkwatch.
Yes. You play as a character named Jericho Cross, an outlaw who becomes a vampire hybrid character. And like I said, it's set in the Old West, which is an immediate green flag for me. I love things set in the Old West.
You said green flag and I got confused for a second. When I hear that term, I think red flag.
Yeah, I almost said red flag. I'm like, nope, that's bad. Opposite, green flag. Okay. So basically, you play as Jericho Cross, and throughout the game, you'll get these choices, which is just be good or be bad. And depending on your choices, that is how your character's abilities develop. So the more good you become, you get a completely different ability set than if you had played the dark side.
Yay, more choice games.
Yes, I love choice games. But also,
choice games.
I don't think the choices really affect the actual story. It's more just personal flavor and how your character develops throughout the game.
Okay, that's not bad. I recently played Midnight Suns, and it's like that as well. Depending on light or dark side you go, you get different movesets. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, as long as it's not one of those games that affect the actual story.
I think the only effect it has for story is you have a good, bad, or neutral ending.
Okay, that's fine. Getting the different endings is fine. I'm talking about the ones that are if you make this choice, your entire story is going to go sideways in this way direction. And it's I don't want that.
So the reason why this is on my list is because it actually was supposed to have a sequel that got canceled.
Oh, no.
Because the sequel was actually supposed to be... the game was supposed to be a franchise. It was supposed to start a franchise of era games, kind of like the Assassin's Creed games, how each game is a different era.
Makes sense.
This is what that would be. And instead of each game focusing on Jericho Cross, it would be a different character for each era. And I liked the idea of a vampire hunting organization, and you're seeing how it develops over time with each game. The game itself, really cool. It's your generic first-person shooter, though. But I love the aesthetics. It's dark, Old West. The character, as you know, I'm a big fan of trench coats and stuff like that. This guy has a trench coat, dual wielding. Revolvers with hook blades on the handles.
That doesn't sound like a Nate character at all.
Yeah, the character is almost designed for me, it feels like.
That's everything you love.
Really badass. And there was even supposed to be a movie project that was being talked about, but it had back I think in 2006, but nothing really. I think it got canceled in 2011.
If it's coming out in 2006, I can just picture it being played by Vin Diesel, because that's what he did. Didn't Vin Diesel do a lot of video game movies back then? Am I thinking of the same thing?
I don't know.
Oh no, I'm thinking of The Rock. Didn't The Rock play in the Doom movie?
He did.
That's what I'm thinking of. The Doom movie.
And Jumanji are the only two movies that I can think of that were based off games that The Rock has done, though.
Okay. I know the Doom movie did terrible.
Honestly, if I was going to cast anybody for this character, though, it would have been Carl Urban.
Keep in mind, this is 2006, so...
Yeah, it would have been Carl Urban because Carl Urban just looks like him.
Isn't Carl Urban Sam and Dean's dad in Supernatural?
No, Carl Urban is Butcher from The Boys.
Oh, that's right. What was he in? Was he even a movie star back in 2006?
Yes, he actually played in the Doom movie with The Rock.
No, he didn't. I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
He was the main character of that movie, while The Rock was the main antagonist of the movie.
Oh, see, when I think of The Rock and Doom, I just immediately, that's what I think of, just The Rock. It's like...
Yes. Anyway, that is my fourth pick.
Okay.
Highly wish it would come out. I don't think it has any like remasters or reboots or anything that has made it available to current stuff.
That sucks.
Yeah. But I will say, I believe a new game did come out recently that is also a like supernatural Van Helsing style set in the Old West, which I'm really wanting to play. I just am blanking on the name right now.
Is it the game Van Helsing?
No.
That's a
but a lot
game.
of people who also play Darkwatch had told me that this was very Darkwatch-esque.
Huh.
So I'm looking forward to playing it. This is my fourth pick for sequels.
Cool. All right, that moves on to my fourth pick. And my fourth pick is also a game that never got a port or sequel or reboot of any kind. It's just lost in the wind and the dust on the GameCube and stuck back in 2004. And that is the game Custom Robo. I think you've heard me talk about this game and how much I love this game.
Yes, I've heard you talk about it numerous times and have even gotten me interested in playing it.
Yes,
though
it looks so fun.
So many other things to play.
This game came out in 2004, like I said, and it came out on the GameCube. I'm pretty sure it was only the GameCube. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's only on the GameCube. And we did actually get a sequel, but it was a sequel in 2006 on the DS, and it was obviously a handheld game, so it doesn't really compare to the console version that I played, and it was a completely different game. So, it also didn't do that well. So that's why I said I want a sequel of the GameCube version of that.
Okay.
I would love to see a fully fledged, brand new Custom Robo game on modern consoles. It could be all new characters, a whole new story. I don't care. I just want some form of Custom Robo on modern consoles. That franchise is awesome. The GameCube version, the whole point is like you run around and it has a really I think it has a really good story. I've seen reviews of the game and people said the story's boring. I don't know what they're talking about. I love this story. But the story is basically you're the main character, you're just a hero, and you have to go around and stop basically the end of the world. It's your typical JRPG. And every time, instead of battling like a combat style, it's kind of like Pokemon style, where it's like, there's the villains. We need to stop him. So we're gonna stand in front of him and go into this like dive into like this hollow dome. It's basically like diving like VR, and you fight with battle bots into a combat system in a hollow dome. And once you beat the enemy robot, they're defeated, and they're like, "Duh, we can't continue," kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Pokemon
There
style.
can be only one.
Right. And you could customize all your bots. They had different skins. Each skin had a speed, a stat, strength, the typical battle bat style. And I just loved it. I loved the fact that you could customize all your bots, pick which one worked best for you. And this one did something that I've never seen. This was the first time I saw it in video games. They had special bots that you could unlock that were considered, quote, illegal. Not like it's a cheat or anything. It's literally built into the game. They have illegal bots. And if you unlock the illegal bots, it's what the villains use, and this is why they're so powerful. And you could use it to fight against other villains.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you get your main bot, and you get all the league bots, because it's supposed to be like, they have a tournament and all. like I said, the simulators of Pokemon are so similar, just with battle bots. And, once you save the world and stuff, you have a league, and you can go fight the league. But you can use illegal parts for your bots if you unlock them. It's hilarious. But yeah, I want to see...
like a black market of
parts, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the one thing I think I've told you before that I think you would like about it. You can customize your bots. That's the biggest selling point I can say to you personally, Nate. Yes, customization! That was the
first straw you gave me.
No, but it's kind of ironic. I don't want to spoil too much of the story, but the story in the original game is pretty interesting because it's like they view the world like this one town is the world. There is nothing beyond it. There is no outside world. This is the world. And then they get their eyes open and they're like, oh my god, what the fuck? And that's basically like the story of like why this like weird thing is happening to their town because he's from the outside world type of thing. Yeah, so like I said, for the sequel, if it's just a continuation of that, or I think it'd be smarter just to make a new game with a whole new cast, whole new story. Kind of like how they do with like Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy. It's like it's in the series, just a completely different game.
Yeah.
Do that with Custom Robo. That's what I want.
I can see that.
And I want to say Nintendo still owns the IP, so it'd probably come out on the Switch.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my number 4. I want a new Custom Robo game. That is a game series that I feel like not many people have played, and they should.
Yeah, I remember I had heard about it when it came out on GameCube. I didn't have GameCube, so I immediately wrote it off as never going to play it.
Sadness, Nate. I love the GameCube so much.
And then you were I think the first person I had ever met who was like, such a great game. And I'm like, oh yeah, that did exist.
Dude, I'm a huge stand for that game. I love that game.
All right, that understandable. Everything, because like you said, you have mentioned it before, and I've done research on it before, or after you had talked about it, and everything I saw, it did look really fun, especially the customization aspect of it.
Nate, if I somehow got you like an extremely cheap GameCube for you to play, would you buy the game?
Probably not.
Oh!
Not gonna lie.
Oh, what? Why? You just said it looks fun.
It does look fun, but I have a lot of games to play already.
Nate, this needs to be top priority, okay?
No, that's not. It's not going to get on top priority. If I manage to somehow get through all of the games I still have yet to play, then I'll get to it.
But that's never going to happen because they always release new games that you want to play.
Exactly.
It's a continuous cycle of like, I'll get to it one day. It's kind of like how I have games downloaded to my PlayStation that I bought 4 years ago that I still have never opened.
I didn't make the rules. I just understand them and acknowledge the limitations within them.
So yeah, that's my number 4, Nate. Is Custom Robo. What is your number 3?
All right, so my number 3 is a game called Jade Empire. It came out 2005 on the Xbox.
Man, your whole list is just all old school games.
They are, because I really, really wish those games would come out.
And you said I live in nostalgia.
Okay. Yeah, no.
There's no defending that.
I don't every day think, man, I wish these games would come out. It's more like every time someone asks me, hey, what game or what would you like a sequel of? I'd be like, one of these. So anyway, Jade Empire came out in 2005 for the Xbox. Again, don't think it came out for anything else.
An Xbox exclusive.
Yes, it was a BioWare game.
BioWare makes what games again?
Like the Star Wars, Mass Effect.
Okay. Now I'm seeing a connection for you, Nate.
The heavy story narration, choosy kind of games that you don't like.
That's just me. Everybody can like what they like. Everybody can like what they like.
Jade Empire was basically those games, but set in Chinese mythology.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yes, it was a really interesting game. It took the old Knights of the Old Republic morality system and adapted it to this, so you could like find characters and how your character has built up their morality. You'll get different reactions from characters in the game.
So do you think someone like our buddy Gibb, who's a massive Star Wars fan, who probably played the crap out of the Knights of the Old Republic, do you think fans like that would like this game?
Yeah. If you like story, you're going to like this game. If you liked BioWare games, you're going to probably like this game. This is like I said, it's a action role-playing game. So you're going to have ability trees, you're going to have picking weapons that you're going to want to specialize in, armor, looks, all kinds of stuff. The one thing I will say, I don't remember there being like a character customizing option for this game.
Oh no, Nate, the game's ruined now. You can't play it.
It's not ruined because I cannot state just how fun I liked this, or I thought of this game.
A game that's not customizable that you love. That's surprising.
Yes. Yeah, that in itself should tell you something.
This must be a 10 out of 10 game, Nate.
I'd definitely give it like a 9 out of 10.
Wow, getting a 9 out of 10 approval from Nate.
It had great story. The graphics were pretty good for the time, I think.
You said 2003 or 5?
2005.
Okay. And this is original Xbox, right?
Yes. Nowadays, they're kind of not great.
No kidding.
To today's standards, obviously. But I would love for them to do a sequel where you could actually customize your character because...
of course you do.
Well, yeah, but I think there was like a missed opportunity in that regard because your character is like the last surviving member of a monk order. So being able to customize your character to like reflect who you are in that kind of context would have been awesome. But yeah, highly recommend this game. It was just a fun experience. It is probably one of my top 10 like role-playing games I've played.
So besides the customization, what else would you change for the sequel?
Well, obviously the graphics.
Obviously you're making a new console game basically. When we say we want sequels, we're talking about modern consoles. So whatever it is going to get modern console graphics.
Well, not necessarily. You got like pixel art and stuff that is still pretty
like look
high-end.
at Live Alive. That's a game that just came out. That's a 2D pixel game that got brought and remade into modern consoles, and it still has the pixel art, but you could tell it's a new pixel art style game.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So let's see here. I mean, there's really not much I would want to change from a mechanic standpoint. Because, like I said, the game itself was just pretty spot on. I would like a continuation of the story, or like it being maybe set in a different part of China.
Okay.
So like a whole nother order or a whole nother aspect instead of you like seeking, because the game is you are the last spirit monk of your order and you go on a quest to try to save your master from the people who took your order down. So get away from that maybe and move on to like maybe a wandering samurai or something.
Okay.
Which I understand is more Japanese lore.
Yeah, I was about to say, it ain't really Chinese.
But then again, it doesn't even have to be in China. It could be in another area. Like maybe if they wanted to continue it, maybe you're moving from China to Japan to seek out other things. So, I don't know. I would just really like a sequel to it. I would trust them to do it well. I don't really have any input on any new features to it other than character customization, and I know you don't really like this kind of thing, but I really did love BioWare's later on takes of how the choices affect your worlds and stuff.
Hey man, everybody likes what they like. I just personally don't like that, but I know lots of people that do. So
yeah, that would be my third Fourth pick.
Okay. Cool.
Third pick. Yeah.
So no changes to like the combat or nothing?
Nope. Loved the combat. It was kind of like a hack and slash, but also able to activate like abilities and stuff and timed and whatnot.
How do you feel about games that are like remade, or even if they get not usually sequel, that doesn't normally happen, but like say a good
Like
example,
a remaster?
or like more like a remake, because like a great example is Final Fantasy VII was a turn-based combat system game. They remade it for modern consoles as a hack and slash. How do you feel about them changing combat like that? Or for any game?
Oh. So I always frustrate people because I'm a very neutral person. And this is going to be a very neutral opinion. But on one hand, I like the idea of them taking an old IP and trying something new, kind of breathing new life to it. But on the other, I can understand wanting to bring what you loved from the past into the current times with the same kind of mechanics, so that it's just what you liked from the original, shinier, brighter.
I get you.
So for me, like ideally, you'd be able to have it where you could, in the options menu, choose what type of combat you would want, but that would be a hell of a lot more work for the developers.
I actually think in Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think there is an option to make it turn-based, like if you want to switch it to pixel. So I don't know. I never played it that version. I always played it the way it's made. One of them is like that. I don't remember what there's. I think there's a no. It's Dragon Quest. I'm thinking of Dragon Quest. You could turn off the pixel on and off. That's what it is.
Yeah, in an ideal world, pretty much any game that is like a remake, and then they want to try a new style of something. In an ideal world, you'd have it to where you could pick between original style or new style. But I definitely understand people wanting to try new things, especially from a creative standpoint, and then understanding people wanting to stick to the original from a fan's aspect.
So here we go, Nate. What if the game you just said is your number 3? What if they brought that as a sequel, but they made it turn-based combat? How would you feel about that?
I'd be okay with it.
I know a lot of people hate turn-based combat. I love turn-based combat.
Mainly because for me, particularly, combat is not really the reason I play games. I play video games for the story.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a very baby gamer.
Baby gamer.
Yes, I do not play games for difficulty's sake. I play games for story's sake. I do understand like the thrill of achievement when you do a difficult thing in the game, and like it truly does feel awesome. But if I'm playing a game like Jade Empire, I'm not like, if you make it super difficult, I'm not going to enjoy it nearly as much. I want it to be story. That is why I'm playing that type of game.
Makes sense.
So, however battle style or combat style you want to make it, go ahead. As long as you give me the same quality of story you gave me in the first one.
Totally makes sense. All right, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that moves on to my number 3, right? 3? Yeah.
Yes. 3.
All right, my number 3, it already seems like it's a dead franchise, but hey, crazy things have happened, so who knows? We might get a sequel one day. It's a game I know that you've played at least one of, because we've played it together, Nate. Any guesses? Any guesses of what it could be? It's on the. We played on the Switch.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the games we've played on the Switch.
Oh, come on. It's a big one that you got tired of very quickly. You got tired of it very quickly.
I got tired of it?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, that's not true.
That's right, Nate. It is Marvel's Ultimate Alliance.
Oh. I didn't get tired of the game. I got tired of the same level you wanted to play over and over.
I'm sorry that once you beat the story mode in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, once you beat the story mode, to level up more characters, you just had to keep replaying levels with harder difficulty challenges. It's not I didn't design the game, Nate.
Okay, but to say, like, I got tired of the game. No, I got tired of the level that you wanted to play over.
So yes, I would like to see Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4. Now,
Okay.
we've got, like I said, we got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 exclusively for the Switch in 2019, and it seems like they have not even hinted at wanting to make another game. So it looks like Nintendo owns the rights to Marvel Ultimate Alliance, because the first one and the second one, which are amazing games, I've played those multiple times, because of copyright laws and rights and all that stuff, they got delisted off of everything. So on PlayStation, Xbox, anything, it's delisted. Only reason I still have them is because I purchased both games on the PlayStation 4, because they came to the PS4 a while back, before it was delisted. Then they delisted it, so I still own it. It's downloaded to my consoles. That's the only reason I still have them. But you can't get those games anywhere. So when they mentioned an Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Switch, I was super shocked. That's why I was like, that game was awesome. I loved it. And then that was, 2019? So that was, 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago? 4 years ago. And
2019, 4 years.
We haven't heard a single peep about them making a sequel. So I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it did well enough.
I mean, crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
Psychonauts, one of my favorite platforming games, gained a sequel a long time after the first one went, so.
And that was what, like we mentioned with Marvel vs. Capcom, that was a franchise that I was a little nervous when they announced they're going to bring it back. They would pull a Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and, take away all the X-Men or something because of they want to stick more to the movies. Now, thank God they didn't do that, because they added actually a bunch of awesome characters into that game.
Yeah.
But, so I would love to see them make a sequel. And obviously the third game was about, they were trying to make it more along the lines of what's happening in the MCU at the time. So it was about the Infinity War and the Infinity Stones and all that stuff. And they actually added in new characters, brand new characters that aren't even in the comics for that game. That was really cool. So for this sequel, I would love to see maybe a game about the Secret Wars, or even maybe King the Conqueror. What do you think? What would make a good story? A giant event, every game has been a giant event. The first game was all about Doctor Doom and his whole trying to take over the world. The second game was all about Civil War. The third game was all about the Infinity Stones and Thanos. What would you think would be a great story for Ultimate Alliance 4? I'm thinking, like I said, Secret Wars is a huge event. King the Conqueror was a huge event in the comics. I don't know.
I would like for them to perhaps explore one of the What If universes.
Would that be enough to do an entire, bring in every hero you can play as type of game? Because that's what these are.
So,
they're you play as, a roster of, 70 heroes.
Yes, I think it would, because there are some What If storylines, and even that have actually, grown because they were so good.
And
you've
a good
even
example
gotten...
is wasn't Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, weren't they What If type of things?
I don't know,
I don't
but
remember.
it wouldn't be surprising. But you have characters from basically just go into other universes, really.
So you want a multiverse thing?
Yeah, basically.
Isn't that what they've already done stuff like that? With Spider-Man games and stuff.
Yeah, but the Spider-Man games are mainly exploring the Spider-Verse kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about instead of Storm, have Bloodstorm, the vampire version of Storm from a horror universe.
Nate, we get it. You just want a video game where you could play as Werewolf Captain America. I understand.
I mean, if I wanted that, what was it? Avengers I could play?
Yeah, it's just a skin, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I would just... That isn't really what I'm wanting.
Right, you want to interact with the characters from that universe. I get it.
Yeah, I'm wanting them to... Hey, something is, wiping out whole realities. We need to figure out what.
I mean, that's kind of what the third game was, though, is that Thanos was getting it was kind of like the movies. Thanos was collecting the Infinity Stones to conquer the universes and everything. That was kind of the whole thing of the third game.
But did they actually explore the other universes, though?
I mean, they went to the Dark Universe and fought Dormammu.
That's a universe within like the main continuity of the universe, though. I'm talking about like.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would rather get a game based on the main continuity, like I said, Secret Wars or maybe Kane the Conqueror, stuff like that, and have the alternate skins be other versions. Like that's what I'd want. I like that.
The reason I would want a multiverse kind of thing is so you could get more characters put in with different abilities.
Okay. Well, I actually have a couple of characters that I'd want to see. Just a little short one. I have a huge list, but I'm not going to go through that. I'm going to go through like 4 of them. Yeah. I have Agent Venom, who has never been any part of any of the games. All 3 games, we've never seen him. Then we have the Winter Soldier, who was a boss in the first game, a boss in the second game, and then just an NPC in the third game. Never playable. I was so angry. Because in the third game, they made Winter Soldier be a good guy. Because the first 2 games, he was a villain. That was back when he was a villain, because that's when the comics were out. And then the new one, they made him be the hero. And I'm like, oh, cool, we can play as Winter Soldier. No. Just NPC. Never got to playable. Cool.
Hilarious.
Then the Green Goblin, who was actually playable in Ultimate Alliance 2, but only as DLC. So you had to pay for him to play with him. And he wasn't even part of the story. He was just literally just like thrown in as like, plays this character. And then he was a boss in the third one. So never playable part of the story kind of thing. And then Kitty Pryde and X-23. Those 2 never made the games. I think it'd be cool to play as those guys. Okay. Just a few couple characters I would love to see they ever made an Ultimate Alliance 4. I've got a huge list on my phone that has like 40 characters. I'm not going through all those.
Well, to give you hope that they may make a sequel to it, buddy, Psychonauts had a 16-year difference between release of 1 and 2.
But I don't want to wait 16 years. I want it to come out now.
Well, that I can't help you with.
I think
if
they ever
some hope for the future.
I think if they ever did anything Nintendo wise on these lists, if they ever make a sequel to any of these Nintendo games, it would have to be whatever consoles after the Switch. I don't think any new huge game is going to come to the Switch besides like Breath of the Wild. I see that the Switch's life is coming to an end.
Okay.
I mean, the Switch has been out since 2017. That's been what? Almost 7 years?
Yeah.
So I think the Switch is coming to an end. But yeah, that's my number 3 is Ultimate Alliance 4.
Alrighty.
I love that franchise.
So my number 2 then. Okay. That is actually the game I am currently replaying.
Oh boy.
Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
Okay.
Came out in 2012.
Hey, something that's not super nostalgia.
And then the remastered version, which came out in 2020.
Oh, so are you playing the old version or the remastered version?
The remastered version.
Okay.
That came out on Windows. And it is called Re-Reckoning.
No, creative.
Yeah. Highly want a sequel to this game. Because... And I also really want them to get at least the writer, R.A. Salvatore, on there, or R.A. Salvatore. I want him to come back in. The game story, I really loved. The artwork, great. You even get to customize your character to somewhat of a degree, like choosing the hair, skin, and face, but like it's all preset kind of looks. So basically what I would want for them to do for this is obviously up the character customization. One of the things I really wanted in the original game was something that they have started implementing in some other like MMO games actually. Costume dyeing. So like if you have the main piece of an armor and you like it, but then the other pieces of your outfit don't match that color scheme, you can then click a button and it will make them all match the center piece of that armor.
Oh, that's cool.
I would want something like that. Preferably, I would like it to where like you could just choose the color scheme of whatever. So you could be mismatched if you want. You could go completely crazy if you want.
Fortnite.
Yeah. But basically some form of armor color schemes that you can pick rather than it all just being one look. Because there's so many really cool looking armor sets in Kingdoms of Amalur that I really don't like the color schemes for. And I'm like, if only you weren't this color, I would wear you. Because I don't care about stats.
You should definitely care about stats.
The game is not that difficult to play, especially if you play it like me on casual, because I'm playing it for the story. I want my character to look cool in a cool environment. I like combat's okay, which I will say I would want them to keep the combat for this game. It's a very simplistic combat system, but they also have a very interesting kind of finisher move thing. So as you build up your fate meter, because you are the fateless one, you can pull off a kind of finishing move whenever you're fighting somebody. Or like certain types of people. Like if they're small fry, I don't think they get the prompt to do it. But if they're bigger, you can. And each type of monster or enemy has their own different finishing animation. For example, there are these things called the Jotun, and they're like giant ogre-looking guys. When you fight them, after you've defeated one, it'll give you the prompt. You press the prompt, and it'll run you through an animation of summoning like a giant astral warhammer that you just go to town on this being and just destroy them.
Wipe them out.
At the end of the animation, you have to button smash a randomly chosen button, and it gives you a meter. If you fill that meter, you can then get experience bonus from the kill.
That's weird.
So, like, if you fill it a quarter way, you only get 25%. If you fill it halfway, 50%. Full, 100%. And then experience bonus. I really like the concept of that because it makes it more engaging on gaining, like leveling your character up. If you're really good at pulling off this animation, and if your character is really that awesome, you're going to get stronger faster. And it's, like I said, you summon various weapons and stuff. Like one of the most brutal ones, actually, is when you're fighting a humanoid, just a regular human kind of character, and you pull off the animation, you'll just summon a giant spike, place it on the ground, grab them by the throat, grab them by the groin, lift them up upside down, and impale them onto the spike. Very Mortal Kombat-esque style.
That sounds very brutal, Nate.
It is, and I love it. Confirmation.
Think of the children.
But that was probably highly inspired by one of the artists, Todd McFarlane, who is very well known for Spawn, a very brutal comic book character. So the game itself is just really fun. Love the art style, love the story. Pretty much love everything about this. This is like a 9 out of 10, but only because of some bugs. If they didn't have the bugs, this would be a 10 out of 10.
Maybe it's one of those games that the bugs make it funny and make it better.
Maybe some bugs. The ones I've encountered, not so much. But yeah, maybe some of the bugs that I've yet to encounter are that way. So that would be my second pick, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. Bring back the Fateless one. Let us see great customization once more and an amazing story.
They're going to make a sequel, but completely take out customization.
That would truly be disheartening.
Just make it a linear story where there's no customization.
That would be so horrible.
Make it short. The story is only like 8 hours long.
That'd be like the troll move for you.
That'd be so funny.
Like, okay, so one of my favorite little side quests is meeting this random feller who is like kind of snarling at you, and he's like, "Stranger, help me!" And you're like, "Okay, crazy person." You get the prompt to just be like, "Get away from me, you weirdo!" Like, leave. Or you can help him, and you can find out that he's not lying. He is a wolf that was turned into a human. The reverse version of a werewolf, who's like, I want to be a wolf again, please help me. It's
so weird.
Just such good little side stories that you can do, and just like I said, the aesthetics of the game is just so pleasing. So yeah, that is my second pick.
All right, it's a game I've never heard of until you explained it.
That's such a shame. But to be fair, I think it only came out on... Oh, no. It came out Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and then it is now on Windows.
Well, two of those are available to me, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever play on Windows, Nate.
Yeah, you refuse to play PC.
Yep, I sure do. All right.
So what is your second pick?
My number 2 is a game that is long overdue for a sequel. I absolutely love the first game, and then they just kind of never did anything with it. That is the game Bully. The Rockstar game Bully.
Okay.
I know a lot of people want this game to get a sequel. Like, when you look up, like, top 10 games that deserve a sequel, this is always on that list somewhere.
All right.
And, like I said, it's extremely overdue. Now, go ahead, Nate.
I have played a little bit of Bully.
What did you think?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a bit weird playing it as an adult because, like, in order to like increase your health, to buff your health, you like have to kiss the girls of the school, and I'm like,
hell yeah.
This is just weird.
Nah, your mindset go back to you in high school being like, hell yeah, I'm gonna kiss all these girls and
I wasn't like that in high school.
Shove dorks in the lockers, yeah.
Yeah, I will say one of the things, like, as an avid Saints Row fan, I am quite used to playing a game where the way I play my character is a like really good guy, but then in the cutscenes he's kind of an asshole to people.
Oh, this entire game you have to be an asshole.
Yeah. Well, now I play as a good kid, like
Not
he's
me.
decent. It's just he is kind of an asshole.
Listen to the entire game.
Lot of characters.
The entire game, I just want to be the douchiest character I can be.
You want to be the main antagonist.
Yeah, of course. That's the whole. It's called Bully for a reason, Nate.
Yeah, you're stopping the bullies of the school.
You are the bully of the school.
Nah, like every chapter is you taking down a bully.
So you could be main bully.
So they will stop being the bully. He even says it in the thing, like, look, I don't mind you picking on like the rich kids or whatever. Just stop picking on the weak. Like, that's straight up Robin Hood mentality right there.
Yeah, I know, but I still like to beat up everybody I can. Anyways.
You're not the bully.
So I have 2 scenarios, and I want your opinion on them. 2 ways I could see this getting a sequel. One way is I'd like to see a sequel of continuation of Jimmy Hopkins. Maybe just him going off to college. Maybe it's setting on a campus. And you do bully-esque stuff like you did in the first game. Try to take down the bullies and stuff like that. Or
real quick. Another one of the things I found annoying in the game is I had A's in all of my classes. I did awesome in all of them, and people still treated my character like I was just a lunkhead moron. I'm like, I'm probably smarter than you, okay?
No, he's a moron.
All right, go, continue, please.
So yeah, the first option is continuation of Jimmy Hopkins going to college, maybe on a campus setting. It's literally just continue the story from where we left off.
If he makes it that far, yes.
Yes. And that's why I have a second option, because who knows if he actually goes to college. And the second option is, if the continuation wouldn't work, I'd be okay with a brand new main character. Maybe have Jimmy either be involved in the story or at least mentioned in the school. So maybe it's at the school. Maybe it's like the next year. So Jimmy, I don't remember if Jimmy was a senior or not. I honestly don't remember. But maybe it could be like you're the new kid in school and Jimmy would be like the senior and you would have interactions with Jimmy or something like that. And it would be focused around you and the school. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So out of the two options that I imposed, what would you think would be a better fit?
For my own ideas, the second one. I would want the second one because I would want the new character to actually be Jimmy's child.
Jimmy's child?
Yes. Not because I want an updated year of the school. I don't want like it to be what was it? Early 80s, late 80s, mid 90s, whatever.
What the time year it was placed in?
Yeah, I don't remember what year.
Was it set? Was it set in the 90s? I thought it was set in modern time when it came out.
I mean, was it? I don't know. Honestly,
I don't remember. The game came out in I want to say 2006 or something like that. I don't remember.
When was Bully?
I honestly don't know. I thought it was set in modern time, but I could be wrong. I know it's set in England. The game is in England.
Okay, so the game is hinted at being in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But all of its influences were from 80s or 70s, 80s, and 90s. So the time set was 2000s, but the actual everything in it was 70s, 80s, and 90s style.
Well, that's
such a confusing.
That's super weird.
Yeah, it's such a confusing design. All right, so either way, I want it to be Jimmy's kid going to that school and only going to that school because Jimmy's yeah, I ruled that school. I was top dog of that school.
I didn't think of it like that. I'm thinking of I was thinking continuation of a couple years. You're thinking 15 years later.
Yeah, you are going in as the legacy of Jimmy Hopkins.
Okay.
And you have to live up to that legacy.
That's kind of cool.
Do things differently.
I'm going to do things different.
By being the child of Jimmy Hopkins, you can choose this kind of... I personally would love a character creator, obviously, but getting away from character creation, being able to choose between male or female character.
I don't know.
You could be the son or daughter of Jimmy Hopkins.
I'm not trying to say like that, but the only reason I'm hesitant about that is because if you can sit here and say in society that everyone's equal, but in this type of game when you're playing as the bully, the character's gonna play differently. Females and males are treated very different in high school.
Exactly. This gives you different options. So
you're saying have two different stories. One is the female version, one is the male version?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to say you have one linear story and it doesn't matter if you pick male or female. I'm like, no, that's going to matter.
Even if you do pick a linear story, you could still have different character interactions with however you pick.
Because, one of the main concepts of the story is, Jimmy had to infiltrate the greasers and slick his hair back and put on the thing. Back at that time, females aren't going to, grease up their hair like that. It's just not going to work.
Again, though, which is why I would want it set in a more modern setting.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I get you. That could work. I like your concept better than my two concepts, to be honest, of him being the son of Jimmy. That's a much better concept, honestly.
I just took your second option and added my own little flavoring.
Yeah. I don't know. I instead of Jimmy just being in the story, he'd be the parent.
Yeah, he would be you would go to him and be like, Dad, this school's just horrible. And he's like, suck it up.
He'd be like, wow, you're really weak.
Yeah, you're my kid. Get out there and show it.
Be a ruler.
Yeah, don't be a plebe.
Don't be a puss.
Yeah, like, so yeah, I would just want you to be the legacy of Jimmy Hopkins.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I like that. But yeah, that's my number 2 is Bully 2. I would love to see Bully because, like I said, very overdue.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Plus, I did like the mini games and stuff.
Yeah,
They were
I
fun.
did. Wasn't there a whole part where you can go into like a carnival?
Yes, where you could do the games at the carnival even.
Yeah,
There
that
was
game
even
just
an
had.
arcade thing where you could play arcade games.
So, hot take here for all of our listeners who are fans of Rockstar. I enjoy Bully more than I did GTA 5,
Okay.
which is probably very hot take because most people love GTA 5. I just think Bully was more fun.
Okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
I know you don't agree with me, but that's all right.
Well, I mean, I don't think I've ever played GTA 5.
You haven't? Aren't they?
No.
Oh.
So, I would have to agree with you because I have experience versus non-experience.
Oh. All right, that's my number 2. What is your number 1, Nate?
Speaking of Rockstar, by the way.
Oh boy, we're getting GTA 6, huh?
No, we are getting Red Dead Redemption 3.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all that it's on your list.
Yes. Once again, as I've mentioned previous in this podcast, I really am a sucker for the old Wild West.
Nate, this seems like a very plausible game to be coming, by the way.
You would think so. Yes. No mentions of it yet.
When did number 2 come out?
2019, 4 years ago.
I mean, you're in the same boat I am with Marvel
Yes.
Ultimate Alliance.
I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just, like you, saying I want it now.
At least your IP isn't basically dead like mine is.
I mean, they have all but abandoned any updates other than, hacking updates for Red Dead material.
I feel like Rockstar, after the failure of the remastered GTA trilogy, they're just like, fuck everything else that's Rockstar, just focus on GTA 6.
Yes, that is what it feels like, yes. But anyway, I had not played Red Dead Redemption 2 until this year, actually. And man, I'm kicking myself for waiting so long. It is such an astounding game.
It's all right.
And I love playing the online mode almost as much, if not more, than playing the story mode, because the story mode, yes, Arthur Morgan is perhaps one of the best video game characters I have ever played as.
Wow, that's a statement.
Well, it's a statement I've heard numerous times. A lot of people, that's one of the statements people would use trying to get me to play this game. Nate, you really need to, I know you like story, I know you like character creation and all that. You don't get to create Arthur, but you do get to customize him a lot. And even if you couldn't, his interaction with the world is just amazing. And I have to agree, after playing the game, his interaction and the interaction to the world towards him is awesome.
How does it feel knowing that I've had this game? I own Red Dead Redemption 2. I've owned it since 2020. And I put in I don't know, 8 hours. And I turned it off because I got bored.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I know you. You get bored easily.
I do.
And there are a lot of just beautiful, slow moments in this game that I can see why someone like how you would play games would get bored.
See, Nate, go ahead.
I appreciate that beauty, and I'm like, man, that is what one of the things that makes the game astounding to me, because it feels like it's more than just a game. It's more than just a story. It almost feels cinematic. It feels like it's pulling you in to the experience.
See, for me, if I'm going to play a cowboy game, and I want that cowboy aesthetic feel, it's a game that I almost put on my list, and that's Call of Fuertes.
Yeah,
I would play that. I love that game. I literally almost put that on this list as a sequel, but I've only played 1 out of the 3, so I didn't feel like I could put it on there. But
Okay,
yeah,
that's understandable.
so that's
I mean, I've only played.
if I wanted a cool cowboy game, that's what I would play versus Red Dead. But that's just me personally.
I guess I was about to say I've only played Red Dead Redemption 2, but that's not true. I also played Red Dead Revolver.
Me too. I played that was fun. Red Dead Revolver was
Yeah.
fun on the PS2.
So yeah, it's just I would want a sequel to this game, and not gonna lie, one of the reasons I want a sequel to this game is so we could get Red Dead Online 2, because Red Dead Online is a part of the game. And yeah, it's just I love going around and being a cowboy in this game. One of my favorite things to do is some of the most boring shit ever. Just walking around my ranch and like cutting wood, feeding chickens. Need to go hunt a bounty real quick. Go hunt down one of the Skinner brothers. Man, it's just such a fun game.
So what would you change if you could get a sequel?
So first off, there's not really much I would change. Obviously, I would want character customization because, you know me, but also that doesn't really fit well with Red Dead Redemption games. Like you get the customization aspect with clothings and hairstyles and stuff, but the character itself usually is already picked.
Okay. But
then
like you said, if you go online, you can create your own character.
Yeah, about to say, you also get the character customization from the online aspect, which I would want a bit more options. One of the things that has always infuriated me, because I played online first before I played the story.
Oh, come on, Nate. You don't do that. You always play story first.
Well, actually, I think it was a good thing. Because first, like canonically speaking, online is set a few months before the story even happens.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that. If I get a game that has an online that I want to try out, I always play story first. That's just me, though.
Yeah. Well, I bought the online version. I didn't own the story mode until later.
They sell them separately?
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
So if you buy the base game, Red Dead Redemption 2, then you get online.
That's what
but
I
you
have.
can buy online separately from the base game.
The only reason I have Red Dead 2 on my PlayStation is because it was on sale, I think for like $8 one time. And I was like, sure, cool. I'll try that out. And that's the only reason I got it, because it was on sale.
I mean, that's why I got online, because I think it's originally like $10 or $15, and then they had it on sale for like $5. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll buy it. And then I didn't play it until a couple of our friends were like, hey, anybody want to do some Red Deading? And I'm like, oh, I own that game.
Me.
I'll try it out. I'll play it. I've always been interested, and I just haven't really had the motivation to try it.
And then we didn't see Nate for like 6 months.
Yeah. After that, I was hooked. I play it even after everyone has pretty much stopped playing it.
Yeah, I don't really hear much about Red Dead anymore.
Just constantly playing it. I love the hunting in it. I love the bounty hunting in it. I love pretty much everything about that game is just awesome.
So you would just change up customization for the third one, basically?
Yes, and so one of the things, because a lot of this is also a highly requested game to get a sequel.
Yeah, I see it on lists.
And then, like, people always wonder, where would you go from there? Because the first game, Red Dead Redemption 1, is the story of John Marston after the events of Red Dead Redemption 2.
You know,
and then
I think I played Red Dead 1. Or no, I saw my buddy play Red Dead 1 on the Xbox 360, because I kind of know who that is. James Marston.
Yeah. I had never played it. I had only known that it is a great cowboy game with a very sad ending. Oh. And that's actually one of the reasons why I didn't want to play it and 2. Because I'm not a fan of sad endings. I'm a fan of happy endings.
If I'm playing a video game, it's to escape reality. My life's already sad. I don't need it more sad.
Yeah. But I will say that was flawed thinking on my part with this game, because, like I said, I absolutely love this game. Even with the sad ending, I'm like, man, Arthur, you you were a freaking bro. Like, great job, bro. Dang. So one of the questions asked a lot of like, oh, if you're going to have a sequel, you have to like, where would you go from there? One of two ways I could see it going, or one of three ways actually. One, you could either do a prequel, or not really a prequel, more like like an immediate sequel to Red Dead Redemption 2's ending, and kind of a like side by side of the time where Red Dead Redemption 1 is going. Because there are two characters mentioned in Red Dead Redemption 2 that don't appear in Red Dead Redemption 1. You could follow one of them, which I would be perfectly okay with. One is Sadie Adler, and the other is Charles. Both of them, great characters. So I would really enjoy seeing one of them getting their own game or getting focused on in the next game. The second way is going further than Red Dead Redemption 1 and showing this story of Jack, the son of John Marston. You play as him a little bit at the end of the first game, I believe. So being able to see more of that would be interesting. And then the third option is completely getting away from the characters we have been introduced to with them and bringing back Red from
Pokemon.
Red Dead Revolver. Red Harlow.
Red from Pokemon.
Yes, Red from Pokemon. No, Red Harlow from Red Dead Revolver. So bringing him, well, I guess that would technically be a Red Dead Revolver sequel.
That's not part of it, Nate.
Yeah, because technically the Red Dead Revolver is not considered canon. It is considered mythology within the Red Dead Redemption universe.
See? Can't do that, Nate. No.
Yeah. Okay, well, either way, then exploring a whole nother character involving maybe going further back, maybe exploring before the Vanderlyn gang of Red Dead Redemption 2.
I do know this is a very, very requested game.
Yes. Highly requested. Not almost. Every single person I know who has played this game wants a sequel to this game. Wants continued content for this game. So, yeah. That franchise I want a sequel to. I want Red Dead Redemption 3, Red Dead Online 2. Bring them on.
Red Dead Online 2.
What would your first pick be?
All right, my number one is a game that you'll never see on a list of people like I said, Bully, Red Dead. Anytime I look up a list of like game sequels that people want, those are always on there. This game will never be on that list. Okay. And it's a game, and it's even on my notes. Imagine the online for this game. And the game is Kirby Air Ride 2. Do you even know what Kirby Air Ride is?
No.
Okay.
Can't say that here.
Kirby Air Ride came out on the Nintendo GameCube. It is a racing game. It's a Mario Kart style game with Kirby. And
Wouldn't Kirby win all the time? Because doesn't he like ride a star?
Okay, so listen. In the game, you are Kirby. There are multiple different in the computers or the other players. If you play local, because they didn't really have online back then, it would be you play as other colors of Kirby. But there are multiple karts in the game. It's not just the star. You got all these different versions of vehicles for Kirby to ride on. And you remember in Smash Bros. How when you play with items on and you could collect these like rainbow pieces that fall, and then your character would like get this like rainbow looking thing with like you could hit people with? Probably not, honestly. It's a legendary kart from Kirby Air Ride. That's what that's from.
Okay.
And so the premise of the game, and I actually have it in my notes here as a complaint. The only complaint I had was it didn't have an original story because it was a racing game. So only thing is they had like this like mode, the story mode of the game was like this mode where you went out. You had like 3 minutes to collect as many buffs or debuffs you could get in this like little tiny little town, and you could like attack other players. It's kind of like a battle royale to get buffs and debuffs from them. You can steal it from them, and while you're in there, you can switch carts and find other stars or anything like that, and pick which car you want. And at the end, whenever the timer runs out, you would, whatever the stats you had and whatever you were riding on, you'd go onto like a track and race. And that was the game. That was basically it. There was no story. It was just that little mode.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing I'd want if they made a Kirby Air Ride 2, because they obviously have shown Kirby games throughout the years to have fantastic stories. Like, Kirby games are fun because the stories are so good. And they're cute. You can suck up the little things and all that stuff. But I'd love to see because they've shown it in some racing games. Like, look at Sonic Team Racing. You know, we've played that game together. Yeah. The story wasn't great. The story was pretty simple, but it had a story. You had a goal to get through.
I will say every prediction I made for that story was wrong.
Yeah. But what my point is, even though it's a racing game, you can still have a story. You can still have a goal. There could be a reason why Kirby needs to get on these specific carts to go to get through a track or get to a goal to defeat somebody. They can make a story for this. And I think that the online version, because it's a racing game, look how popular Mario Kart is. Mario Kart 8 came out on the Wii U, and it didn't sell well. So they brought a deluxe version to the Switch, and it's the highest selling game on the Switch. They can do that with Kirby. I feel like people know who Kirby is now. I feel like Kirby's popular enough to get that type of love. Back maybe in the GameCube era, Kirby didn't have that many fans. Now Kirby has a lot of fans. I want a sequel to this. Even though I didn't have a story to play, I still played it for hours. I probably, as a kid, played this one of the most I've ever played on my GameCube, to be honest. I played this nonstop.
I will say this is a completely out of left field pick.
I know.
I have never heard you talk about this. I have never heard of this.
When you after the podcast, go look up some gameplay of this game.
I'm watching gameplay of it right now.
It's great. It's so fun. I remember going through the game every time I load up a new scenario, and I'm like, I'm going to go find this cart, and I'm going to go find these debuffs, and I'm going to be the winner of this race. And I do that every time. And then the next round, I'm like, my goal is to just kill the other people. I just want to defeat other Kirbys.
Man, wow. You know, I will say the concept of like all the stuff you have mentioned sounds like a very interesting addition to a racing game.
Yeah, you can add stuff to racing games.
Well, yeah. If done right, I could see it being very fun.
I can't be the only Kirby Air Ride fan out there. I know there's fans out there.
Where are you? We got to hear you in the comments.
Yeah, in the comments, please tell me if you're a Kirby Air Ride fan. All the GameCube owners out there, come on out here.
Man.
Yeah, out of left field, you never would have expected this is my number one, would you have?
No, like maybe like a very slim chance. I would have never guessed it, but I could understand it being your number 5.
This is like, I want this game to happen because they could take a game I have, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, living in nostalgia, a game I adored as a kid, that I played so much as a kid, and then just add on to it, make it newer, brighter, and add a bunch of cool story stuff, and add, slap some shiny new stuff on there. Look how much new stuff Kirby has throughout the years. Kirby, the newest
now
Kirby
he could
game,
swallow his cart.
Yeah, I was just about to say, the new Kirby game, he can become a car. Kirby can become a car. That could be a cart.
I will say the person I'm watching, I don't think is doing a very good job. They keep hitting themselves with their own bombs.
Yeah, they're dumb. Yeah, and there's items in the game. They have weapons, just like Mario Kart.
Yeah, it looks exactly like a Mario Kart ripoff with Kirby.
But okay, extreme hatred coming, people. I think this is more fun than any Mario Kart game I've ever played. That is the biggest hot take I've ever had on this podcast, I feel like.
I mean, I'd probably say that with the Sonic game we played.
You'd say the Sonic game is more fun than any Mario Kart game?
Mario Kart that I've played.
That's surprising, to be honest. That game was just
But also,
okay.
I'm not a big fan of racing games.
Me neither.
To speak of. And the reason like I enjoy playing them is strictly for like hanging out purposes.
And that's what I did with Kirby Air Ride. I played that with any friends that came over to my house as a kid. I plug in the extra GameCube controllers and we go out and play. That's what I did. That's why I love this game so much.
The reason I like the Sonic game that we played more than I've liked any other Mario game I've ever played is strictly because I get to customize my car. That's it.
Well, see, Kirby Air Ride, I wouldn't see you customizing cars. You would get to choose different carts.
Yeah. I'm seeing what this guy's doing.
And you see what I meant by like him being able to like go to a cart and just get off and get onto a different cart in the little battle royale thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be and you could have different modes. You could have a Battle Dome Royale style. You could have a racing style. You could have there's so many options. And like I said in the beginning, imagine the online success of this game. If Mario Kart 8 can do so well on their online, I don't see why this wouldn't either.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number one, dude. Kirby Air Ride.
Yeah. This one I can't give you hope on, buddy.
Oh no, this will never happen. I know that. Never happen.
I genuinely do not. All the others that we have said on this list, I see like at least a sliver of hope.
The title of the podcast is "Deserve a Sequel," so this one deserves a sequel. It doesn't say it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Man, I am flabbergasted at this bit. And watching this gameplay,
dude, it looks you can at least admit it looks fun.
It looks like I said, it looks about as fun as a Mario Kart game. That like
Nate, I own this on my GameCube. If you ever want to come over and we could play it together.
Sure, buddy. That may happen at some never time.
Okay, that real subtle, Nate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number one. The right out of left field Kirby Air Ride pick.
Okay. Interesting pick, buddy.
We actually did get a comment on our Discord, Nate.
Oh?
We got a comment from our friend Ty who says, I want a new Castlevania.
Okay.
He says, it doesn't have to be specifically a sequel, because I want a new Castlevania. I don't care where in the timeline it takes place.
Okay, yeah. I'm curious. I'm assuming he means like the old school Castlevania style rather than the like Castlevania Shadow Lord or whatever.
I have no idea. I've never played a Castlevania game, but I'm assuming it's the old school one, knowing Ty, because he likes old school games.
Yeah, and Castlevania Lords of Shadow is supposed to be more like a God of War style version of it. Okay,
well, yeah. Ty, you are probably not alone, because I do think that Castlevania is pretty popular. So, yes. Yeah. And that's the only comment we got. I didn't see anything on our Facebook or Twitter. But, yep.
Oh. Alrighty, yeah. Good pick, Ty.
Good pick. All right, you got anything else for the podcast today?
No, that's about it.
Alrighty. Well, if you guys enjoyed that, make sure you hit like and subscribe on the video if you're on YouTube. If you're interested in joining any of the Lyman Wolf podcast community and stuff, and we got links below for Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. See you later.